Hello and welcome back to another video. Now today's video, I think it kind of is one that now needs to be done because I talk obviously a lot about periods and hypothalamic amenorrhea, but I haven't really spoken about my journey with it and why I talk about the stuff that I do. And I've noticed a few pieces on Instagram recently of trainers coming out that are saying about the self-love movement is a load of bullshit and stuff like that. So I feel like if I share my story a little bit more, then people have maybe a deeper understanding about why I talk about the things that I do. And I'm trying I don't want this to be like a retaliation video because it's definitely not. I think it's also a video that I need to do as a reminder about why I do this. Sorry if you can hear movement sounds in the background. I've got my dishwasher and my washing machine on. But I feel like basically my period this month hasn't come. I had 3 consecutive periods, and this month I had all the symptoms, just no actual bleed. And I kind of thought that I might have done because I think I kind of lost my why about why I was doing all of this. I got sucked into making everyone else feel better, and I got sucked into tips and tricks and stuff that I hadn't even realised that actually I'd fallen back into old patterns myself. I had been very, very burnt out. I had gone back to training and then started another 100k challenge. I look back at my training sessions and I wasn't fueling straight after, and I think it was all so subconscious that I didn't even notice. And it was only when I had all the symptoms and then one day went and then one day went past and I was like, oh, why is this? And I looked back and I was like, oh, you donut, you absolute donut. And I don't think it was the fact that I wasn't eating enough as per se. I think it was the fact I was doing way too much for what my body can handle. And then obviously the previous month I was poorly as well, so that might have affected ovulation. And I think I'm a big believer that when it comes to around body image and periods and stuff, there's probably a reason that you can track it back to. I completely understand that some days you just have a bad day, but I feel with period, not having a period, there is always something that will link it back to, whether that is pregnancy or whether that is not having it because you've just overdone it a little bit. So I feel not only is this a video, and I'm rambling and I'm 3 minutes in, not only is this a video for me to share that journey so people have maybe a bit of a deeper understanding, but also a therapy kind of session for me to be hey Chloe, this is why you're doing that, don't forget that. So my journey when it came to hypothalamic amenorrhea was I started getting into fitness, and I looked back through my phone actually at some of the pictures, and I just remember I actually started to have a real good balance with fitness. I was definitely a lot into it more than any of my friends. I had started taking protein shakes and stuff like that, but it was actually quite a good balance. I remember looking back and thinking, okay, yeah, I was very diet heavily focused, which some would argue isn't so bad, but I did have an aesthetic goal, so I'm cool with that. And if of a weekend, I would go out and I would eat meals and stuff like that. So it all started off very well. I think it definitely started off as a way for me to feel good enough and to feel better in myself. And I think sometimes the issue with that, and when people come to me asking for online training, I always want to really get into them to find out aspects of their life that they generally do love, so they're not expecting that an aesthetic goal will completely change their life and it will be the answer to all of their problems. But I very much did that. Anyway, I then went into uni and became a personal trainer, and then I just got so sucked in to that life as a personal trainer. I was training 7 days a week. I was eating barely any calories. I was barely eating any carbs. I wasn't sleeping very well. I didn't have the best relationships around me. It was actually a really, really shit place to be in, but at that time I had no idea. I just thought I am the healthy one, and people would look at me and go bloody hell, she can do all of that, bloody hell, she's in such good shape. And yes, on the outside I looked great, and if you but at the end of the day, I was waking up 3-4 times in the night. I had the worst IVF. My nails, hold up, can you see? Were non-existent. They were breaking off. My hair would fall out. My skin was really dry. I was constantly moody. I was constantly up and down. I had no energy. I was napping. I was reliant on coffee, and I was fully what I would describe as obsessed. There was no part of me that felt it's okay to miss a workout. I had to go and do that workout, and it wasn't because I had to go do that workout because I'm so disciplined, which is what everyone thought. I had to because otherwise I was the worst person and I was a complete and utter failure. I had to eat the way I ate, because if I ate slightly differently, I was a failure. If I ate carbs, if I ate chocolate, if I ate anything that was out of my rules, I had failed. And as a type A personality and a slight perfectionist and some, oh, there's a little robin, so cute. That just really helped ground me. Could you tell I was going off on one? But as a type A personality, and something where I was just chasing that happiness and I was chasing that feeling good enough, I was going to do everything I could to try and get there. And the problem is that the fitness industry tells us to do more and eat less and you will get there. So I'm like, okay. And then when I reach a goal, or when I reach a certain clothing size, or I'd done it for a certain amount of time, then, and the happiness wasn't there, and the body confidence wasn't there, and the self-love wasn't there, it was like, oh shit, that means I need to eat less and do even more. So like 7-day-a-week training ended up becoming twice in a day. 1,000 calories became like 800 calories, or 1,000 calories became 1,000 calories just in chicken breast. And it was this whole spiral circle. So while I will never ever be completely against someone with a health goal, I still exercise and I still eat well to, oh, the Robin's come back, I think he's listening to me. Still eat well as a way of feeling good, but also because I do want to look good, right? We all, like, we get dressed in the morning because we want to look good. I will always be an advocate for someone if they would like to make changes to their body for that. But what I can't be an advocate for, and what I feel like I have such a purpose to write on here, is I would hate for someone to feel how I used to feel about myself. I'm getting upset. And I also have to, like, my issues and my mental health, if you like, is from a very privileged position. I often sit there and think, I had conversations with my stepmom. That Robin's just sitting there and that's so cute. I'd have conversations with my stepmom and being like, what a lovely problem to have. A lovely problem to have that I just have to go and move my body, or a lovely problem to have, if you like, to have to eat more. I appreciate that that was from like a privileged position, but when I was like in uni and I would go to bed starving and I would give myself a pat on the back, and I would wake up 3-4 times in the night to go for a wee, and I would wake up in the morning starving and I would have a coffee to suppress it, and I would be constantly checking myself in the mirror, and I would be working out my weeks. I would be cancelling social plans to fit in workouts. I would be not visiting my dad because I would be scared that I know that then my food is completely out of my control, and I would have to eat what they would want me to eat and I wouldn't be able to work out. I would attempt to go out with friends or my boyfriend at the time and just be completely miserable. I hate the thoughts that I have in my head. For example, I now go and visit places that I know I've been to previously, but I recognise and I experience them in such a different way because I'm actually present, and that's because my world isn't focused on how I look and what I'm consuming and me anymore. I generally have more time in the world, and I just hate the thought, and I know there are genuine people, because I get literally like messages daily asking about my journey and how they can help get their periods back and stuff, that I know that there are so many more people out there that are living their life consumed by abs and fitness, and that I can tell you there is so much more to that. And also we're constantly told to eat less and move more, and actually, girls, our bodies aren't meant to be a certain size. If you are ridiculously lean and you lose your period, that is your body telling you that you are not functioning enough just to do your basic human evolutionary requirement, which is to reproduce. We're meant to have slightly more higher body fat. We're meant to live lesser stressful lives. Dieting continuously, ridiculous amounts of exercise or intense exercise will cause stress on the body. We are allowed to like ourselves. We don't have to live our whole lives hating on ourselves, and if someone gives us a compliment to be like, oh no, not this. We're allowed to be happy and we're allowed to be okay. And I think as much as there is that whole talk on like it is okay not to be okay, 100%, I think it's so, and that's why I do this, because I think I definitely gave off that persona of the happy one, the bubbly one, and really I really wasn't okay. And that's why I also do this, to say, look, even the happy ones are not okay sometimes, but on the flip side, you are also allowed to like your body, you are allowed to enjoy your life, and you are allowed to like who you are. So after all of that big drama, I then came out of a relationship and decided to come off the pill, because I've been on the pill since I was 15. I want to say it was like, when did I come off? Maybe 21? Yeah, 21. I never got my period back, and I kind of had this weird instinct that you might lose your period if you do too much, and that being on the pill isn't always the best thing for you. So then when I didn't get my period back, I went to the doctors and they just told me to come back in 3 months or a couple of months, and that happened for about 10 months. During this time as well, I got my BMI done and they told me I was a really healthy weight and I had nothing to worry about. I did kind of say to them, maybe I do a little bit too much exercise. Could that be a factor? And they said, yes, just do less. Try to tell someone that is defined, their whole life is revolved around fitness and working out and dieting. Trying to tell someone to do that, they're just going to go, okay, yeah, maybe I could try that, and never try it. Because we've got to work on the mental health side. We've got to work on the Robin's back, the self-worth side. We've got to work. We can't just penalize people if they don't do what you tell them to do, because we haven't worked on the root causes. We only know our own realities, and we only know the perceptions of the experiences we've experienced. So for some people, my best mate Zoe, for example, could go to the gym 6 days a week, live really, really heavy, absolutely fine smashing 3,000 calories. In fact, she loves it and thrives off it, and she loves lifting heavy. That for her is my nightmare. I would hate to lift really, really heavy 6 days a week. I would hate to eat 3,000 calories. I'm very much more like a yoga, low intensity style person, which I never used to be. And I very much enjoy like fruit and veg and vegan life rather than her like meat heavy diet. And I think that's where there's this big misconception around hypothalamic amenorrhea and this fitness addiction and this self-love world, that is like, actually we can all work really together, and if we factor in all three things, I think we can nail it, because we're constantly told that we should be a certain way, and actually like how someone else isn't right for someone else. And I feel like we're always trying to fit people into little boxes, and what if we're not meant to? I don't want to be in a flipping box. Like, no one's meant to be in a box, and they were trying to fit me into a box. So I got referred for all the scans down there because they thought I had PCOS. I got diagnosed with PCOS. Then I went to see another person. They were like, no, you don't have PCOS. I was like, I know, I think I've got hypothalamic amenorrhea. I think I do too much exercise. And they were like, no, nah, that's not really a thing. It's 100% a thing of obviously what I talk about, and there's so many people coming out talking about it now. So I also had like a huge like dramatic, which isn't uncommon. A lot of people that go through HA have these sorts of experiences with doctors and stuff like that as well, because it's not widely known. So I feel like for me, another reason is because that journey was horrendous. I was taking pregnancy tests. I split up with my boyfriend in the December, and because I wasn't getting my period back, I was still taking pregnancy tests 6 months after us splitting up. And no, I wasn't having casual sex, if you like, because I was so paranoid, and that mental side of things was an absolute nightmare. But anyway, then I eventually started to like research loads into it, but I never found anything that like really broke it down really simply, and that's what I kind of hope to do on here, is breaking that down and really like getting into like the nitpicky bits of like, look, that yeah, we do have to eat more, yeah, we do have to probably reduce our intensity, but we also have to really respect ourselves a little bit more and really start to love ourselves a little bit more. And I just want to be an advocate to show you lot, look, I haven't lost myself. If anything, I've found myself so much more since leaving that exercise addiction behind. And while I'm still paying the prices, if you like, for that, I'm still experiencing that with like irregular periods still, I also feel like I am such a better person and such a happier person. So I kind of just want always this channel to just be exactly that, and just to remind you that, be that little voice of like, it is totally worth it. Eventually I then decided to book in with Rena McGregor, who has been an absolute, well, she's completely changed my life. We worked together, we analysed my bloods, which my doctors had actually read wrong, and it came out that my blood tests were, I actually had no estrogen, which would explain the lack of period, low libido, that kind of thing. And I actually notice now that my libido and my skin and my digestion are the first three things to go if I've overdone it a bit. And in the past like month or so, those have been the first three things that I was like, oh no, have I overdone it? And then obviously not had my period as of yet, touch wood, it will come. So then I started working with Rena McGregor, and she has been amazing. And I say luckily, because for me, I really needed to be taken out of that life and put into another one for me to break free. I'm not great with small changes. I'm actually better if you just like force door shut, go, now do that. I'm actually tend to be a lot better if I just chuck myself straight in the deep end. And a pandemic actually helped that for me, because the gyms were obviously shut and I was working from home, so I was just able to focus on myself. And I just started eating more, doing less. Obviously we were only allowed out once a day. I really reduced my HIIT and I swapped it for yoga. I eat carbs at every single meal if I can, and I eat regularly, like every few hours, just to try to like keep my body not worried that I'm going to starve it. And then other than that, it's just about really keeping my stress levels down and still really working on myself. I think when the self-care and the self-love topic, if you like, is never really widely accepted, again because a lot of industries would be out of pocket if we all started to love ourselves. If you think about fitness industry, weight loss industry, that kind of thing, if we all actually liked ourselves and we were all fueled with the education around how we look after ourselves, a lot of those industries, especially diet culture industry, would be completely out of business. So we're not often told that we should love ourselves and we should appreciate ourselves. And I just really started to dig deep into that world and spirituality, and then that kind of leads me to today. I cannot hand on my heart say I don't ever have any wobbles. The past couple of weeks I've had some real bad body image wobbles of just feeling like I'm just so over this. I've been falling into the comparison trap a million times. I even fall into the comparison trap with some of my best friends, who they know my situation, I know their situation, we all know we're completely different, but I sometimes look at them and think, fuck, I wish I could do that. Or like, wow, you look amazing, I'm gonna do that. So I'll go back to training, and it's obviously never their fault, it's obviously all inside. I still have very much wobbles. I still have days that I don't eat enough. I still have days that I fall back into that trap of like, just go for a run, that will sort everything out, and then I come back and I don't eat. I think sometimes eating disorders and disordered eating can be a bit of a comfort blanket for people. When you're stressed, you kind of go to that thing that feels most comfortable. When you feel out of control, you go to the things that you can control. And for me, that was tracking my food and exercising. I can control what I do with my body if I'm feeling a little bit out of control. And out of control tends to come from feeling ungrounded and stressed, I guess, and just like burnt out. So yeah, I 100% still have those days, and I think and maybe that's why this video was birthed, because I was in that comparison trap, and I just had to remind myself about like why I was doing this and my journey, and that everyone is on their own journey, everyone's in their own lane, and it's about like just bringing it back to you and just centering yourself, just being like, oh Chloe, you do this because you have days like this. I do these videos and I put myself on the internet and I talk about my period and poo and all that stuff on the internet, but in just hope that I know that if I'm feeling like this, there's probably someone else that's out there feeling like this, or there's probably someone maybe like 6 months behind of me in my journey, and I just really want to be able to help those people. I think I need to stop there. I don't really know what this video is, but I also feel like I end all my videos on like, I don't really know what that video is. So yeah, that's a little like my journey with HA and why I kind of do these videos and what I hope you get out of it. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are. If you don't mind, please can you give this video a like and subscribe, and maybe just share it to anyone that you think might be in like a bit of a diet culture frenzy, or a little bit, I don't know, maybe someone that you think might just need to see it, because not only does it help them, it will really help me be able to make my videos reach as many people as possible. So yeah, I hope you have a lovely day, and see you in my next one. Bye.